and you'll notice that that soccer goes straight to bears. That is a matter of preference. I mean, Dryads are obviously very good sometimes too, but going straight to bears is usually very helpful, especially if the undead goes fiends. You almost certainly want to go straight to bears, because a fiend army is very strong at focusing heroes, and you want rejuvenation, and you want bears themselves to counter the fiends. You'll notice how useful rejuvenation is here. Without rejuvenation, Soccer would have a great deal of trouble keeping his heroes healthy in this fight. And even still, Ted is continuing to focus the heroes quite heavily. And you'll notice that that Soccer continues to use the Warden to pressure heroes. He goes straight after the Naga, which can't be healed by the Death Knight. Even with rejuvenation, Ted was able to take down that Warden, which just goes to show you how important rejuvenation is. But since we're fighting in the tavern, Soccer chooses to revive the Warden. It's a somewhat risky move, but he knows he's pretty safe here because he has rejuvenation, and the Undead was pretty much out of mana. He only had about 1 coil left. So it's a pretty good move there, and he was able to kill the Lich via a little bit of focus fire with the Warden, and take down a couple of units before having to TP away. So the Warden makes a very nice combination with the bears. The Warden doesn't do a whole lot of damage to the units, it just focuses heroes, and it dies fairly easily. And the bears complement that very nicely as they're able to heal the Warden, and the bears are able to do a lot of damage to units, making up for the Warden. So, you'll notice that Soccer is continuing to move his 2 Ancients of War around the map, using them to great effect, just setting them to various creep camps. The Southern Ancient of War is now going to help him creep this red corner. And you'll notice on the north side of the map, Soccer is expanding as well. He knows exactly what Ted has in his army, and he knows that Ted has a relatively small army, and that he can probably beat Ted in a fight via hero focus and use of rejuvenation. And so given that he has the advantage, and when you have the advantage and you have the resources for it, it's generally a good idea to expand. And so that's what Soccer does. He puts that expansion up as he's continuing to creep and level up his heroes. You also notice up north that Soccer's purchased a Shredder. Shredder's a very useful unit. It's not useful all the time. It's very expensive, about 300 gold and about 100 lumber. So you shouldn't always buy it, but it is useful sometimes. It's useful if you are very low on lumber. If your lumber wisps are being jacked by gargoyles or blade master or whatever it is that's happening, and you need some reliable lumber production quickly, a Shredder is useful. And it's also generally a good idea whenever you expand, because when you expand, you can just send your lumber wisps over to become the gold wisps for your expansion and replace those lumber wisps with a Shredder, which you can now afford because you have an expansion. So the Shredder is useful, and it's also not bad in a fight, in a pinch. Attacks pretty fast and does a heck of a lot of damage. So that's a little bit about the Shredder. You'll notice that again, Soccer is splitting up his army. He's chosen to buy an invisibility potion on the Warden. An invisibility potion is again a luxury that you can afford when you have the expansion. It's 100 gold. It's not always worth it if you don't have the expansion, but if you do, the invisibility potion can be very useful. You can just send your invisible hero around the map, and to see if you can to catch your opponent creeping. And if you can catch your opponent, you can just follow your opponent's army around, because the chances are they won't be revealing, because they won't know that your invisibility hero is following them, and if you time things correctly, you can get a nice creep jack, get the jump on them via that invisibility potion. It's also sometimes useful for running into their base and killing workers, although that's often more applicable for other races. A little bit about invisibility potion. So at this point, Soccer wasn't able to find Ted creeping. So instead he's chosen to, instead of running around with his Warden worthlessly, instead he's chosen to just have his Warden join his Panda and do a bit of creeping, try to get that fast level 5. And you'll notice that as soon as the panda does get level 5, he runs the panda right away to make sure that now the Warden is getting all the experience. That's always something you should do. Don't be lazy. Sometimes it ends up paying off big. And you'll notice that Soccer also made his panda useful while running the panda away. He didn't just run it into sitting idly. He ran it to the shop where he could buy items and engage the next creep camp. Soccer is a very, very good example of solid multitasking. He's rapidly becoming one of my favorite Night Elf players. He just always uses all of his tools. It's a very, very good example of how to use everything at your disposal. So a nice TP there by Soccer just to ensure that that Ted wasn't able to kill too much in the base, forcing Ted to TP out. TP trades are often good, especially if you can kill some of their units. When you have the expansion up, it's very, very nice, because you trading for 350 gold for their 350 gold is not bad at all. When you're mining double the gold. You'll notice up top that Ted's about to do something very clever and take out this expansion, which you can do with just 2 sappers if the Night Elf doesn't have Nature's Blessing. So that's a word to you non-Night Elf players, that oftentimes if you have your opponent distracted or away from his expansion, you can use 2 sappers to take it out and immediately level the resource playing field, because chances are they won't have Nature's Blessing in a game like this. If they do have Nature's Blessing, it's 3 sappers. That's usually, by the way, only a good idea if you are at 50 food or not needing your gold for other purposes. Because 2 sappers is quite a lot of gold. It's about 400 gold. So you wanna make sure that that's a good trade for you. 400 gold for an expansion is usually a good trade, but you gotta be sure of that. All right, about to have a big fight here. You'll notice that Soccer had purchased an invulnerability potion on his Warden, and immediately sends his Warden in for bait, and then uses that invulnerability, and starts focusing down the hero that can't be healed, which is the Naga. And as soon as the invulnerability wears off, he knows he's going to be focused, so he runs his Warden away. The Warden, however, does die to all that hero focus, and immediately Ted starts focusing the other hero. But Soccer again has invulnerability potions at the ready, and Ted is paying for his hero focus. Ted is losing all of his units because he waited too long to focus Soccer's units. So the thing you need to be aware of when you go Warden Panda like this is that the Undead, in all likelihood, will focus your heroes, and Soccer was aware and was prepared for it. So to defend against the hero focus, he had invulnerability potions on both his heroes. He had healing potions, and he just tried to make sure that his heroes stayed alive. And as a result, the rest of his units cleaned up and won the battle for him. And when he eventually did get level 6 on his panda, he was able to clinch the victory via the level 6 panda's ultimate, which kept his panda alive. So pretty good game there. Soccer's a really great player. Always a lot to learn from his games in terms of how he uses all of his units to maximum effectiveness. In my opinion, he's very, very strong at that. So that's a little bit about using the Warden. Hopefully you guys found that helpful. I'll have to, I'm not sure exactly what I want to do for my next commentary. I'll be open to requests. So, please let me know what you would like to see. Pretty soon I'll get around to doing another one of my own games. But for now, I'll stick to the pro replays. I tend to like doing that better, I think. It's helpful to see what real players are doing. So, yeah, I guess that about wraps it up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one and found it educational. And I will see you next time. This is Balance, or G3 Balance, from WC Replays. See y'all later.